Welcome to Good Follow presented by DraftKings. I'm Megan Reyes. Joining me are Logan Hackett, and for the entire month of October, we have the one and only Roz Goldenwedde. The finals are underway between the Liberty and the Lynx. Roz, we're going to get right to it. What does each team need to do in order to win it all?
I think first of all, like the matchup's a really interesting one, right? Because the Lynx have had the Liberty's card. In the 4 times they've seen them this season, they've won 3 times if you include the Commissioner's Cup. So they also have like something tangible over the Liberty. And the Liberty are the top seed, and they've got all this star power and this huge story of returning to the finals to like seize it. But I actually don't think either of these teams is the top dog, and I don't think there's an underdog. Like, it's an interesting matchup because the Lynx come into this. I'm curious if you think that there's an underdog here, because I don't even think the Lynx see themselves as an underdog in the sense that they believe they can beat the Liberty because they have beaten the Liberty. I see this as a matchup of the top 2 teams that have been the top 2 all season. I think it's a heavyweight matchup. And I think we're in for a really fun battle too. So, I mean, before we even dive into keys, I don't want to like hijack the question, but I am curious, like, did you think that did you think the Lynx were an underdog? I'm just curious, Logan.
I didn't at all. The second you said that too, like I've always thought they were even, but the second you said that, it clicked in my head that like both of their starting lineups on paper, maybe they would be underdogs, but watching them play throughout the whole season, both teams, like it is one of the most even matchups that I've seen in the finals in a very long time.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like the keys are really key then. So for me, I've called a number of their matchups this season as, color commentator for the Liberty. So for me, for the Liberty, they must establish paint presence. And I think that starts with the engagement of Jonquel Jones. Remember in that Commissioner's Cup, she went 0 for 3. So she only took 3 shots and she made none of them. She had 3 points in the game. Disaster. Didn't go well. The one lone win the Liberty have, Jonquel was like super engaged there. She had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and took 13 shots. So I think that's key. I think physical defense from the Liberty, and that's something that Coach Brandello has talked about all season. We often think about the Liberty's offense, but defensively, when they win, they are physical. And they are the enforcers on the defensive end. And when they haven't come with that, when they haven't made the Lynx feel them, like think about the last time that they saw each other at the very end of the season. And remember I came to the show and I said the Lynx bopped the Liberty, remember? And they bopped the Liberty right in Barclays Center in Brooklyn. They allowed them to whip and zip the ball around. They had 26 assists, 14 threes. You can't allow that. You've got to take a page out of the Connecticut Sun's book and muck the game up with your physical defense. And also Fee is so good when she's like moving without the ball. Watch those 40-point games. It's her movement when she doesn't have the ball. She's so bright. She's reading what the defense is giving. So you must have a body on her at all times. She can't move freely in space. And I think always with the Liberty, take care of the ball. So those would be my keys, I think, for the Liberty. I mean, Logan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think for the Liberty especially, they have to make sure that Jonquel, Sabrina, and Brianna are all on their game, because when one of them is off, then it falls on the other 2. And it's very easy, especially for Minnesota's defense, to shut them down. So then you're relying on other players, and especially without championship experience, most of the other players, then it's going to be so much harder. So they're all going to have to drive that force and work together, which they've been doing well all season on both ends of the court.
Well, look, on the Lynx side, they have to make sure that their depth shines too. Like, this can't just be Nafisa Collier. They won't beat the Liberty that way. And when the Lynx have been their best this season, it's like everyone shining within their role. So, Courtney Williams just came off of a monster game 5. Like, she's got to continue that, knocking down her mid-range jump shot, being energetic on both ends, making the right plays and being thoughtful about penetrating and kicking. We need Bridget Carlton to knock down some huge threes and space that court. Alana Smith, like, play defense, get those blocks, make it tough on, the Jonquel Joneses and Stewies as a tandem with Nafisa Collier on the defensive end. So, both of these teams are so deep.
Well, we saw the Liberty playing with a different level of intensity against the Aces, and now that their quest for revenge against Las Vegas is over, are either of you worried that they'll lose momentum in the finals? We're
No,
playing for a chip. Come on.
not at all. I'm pretty sure Brianna after the last game was like, it's not over. Like it's just getting started type of thing. Like beating the Aces, sure, that's one thing. Sure, they beat us last year, but hello, we have the finals in front of us, and they're going for that, especially with the curse in mind.
It's funny, the Liberty players won't allow any major celebrations. Like, I loved that post-game interview with Stewie, and she said, "We're hungry." After beating the Aces, they proceeded to the locker room. I do think that a lot of their off season and even some of their gelling was built around like the pain of losing in the way that they did to the Aces. So the Aces certainly were like a major part of like their storyline and their, villain origin story. Like, they had to overcome that to get to the finals. But I think this is a team that all season long has respected the process. Like it wasn't about we got to get there and beat the Aces. It's really hard to get to the finals. We understand that. We must take one step at a time to achieve the hard task of even getting back to the finals so we can compete for it. So the Aces was like this big like gut check before getting to the finals. But I truly, if you have to have no common sense to, come into a matchup with a team that has the Lynx are the only team that the Liberty didn't win the regular season series against. The Liberty beat every other 10 of the 11 other teams in the regular season series except the Lynx. Trust me, the Liberty know who the Lynx are. The Liberty know who the Lynx are.
So we know Asia Wilson has won her third league MVP and is arguably the best player in the league. But I want to have a fun conversation, Roz and Logan, about who would be the second best players. And I think the conversation is between Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier, who will be facing off in the finals. So I want to debate this, and I'll start with you, Roz. Who do you think is the second best player in the league right now?
It's a really interesting conversation that comes to a head right now as the Liberty and the Lynx are facing off in the finals. So for me, when watching the best players in the world compete in the Olympics, it was very clear to me that Asia and Stewie were the best two players in the world. Like, and remember, Napheesa Collier is on this team too. But it was very clear that the most dominant players in the world today during the Olympics to me were Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart. Now, there are other case studies though. In these playoffs, Napheesa Collier has been the best player in playoffs, in my opinion. Then we go by awards. Well, Stewie was last season's MVP. Obviously, Asia won this year's MVP, but Fee was in second place. You can even stylistically, I see a lot of similarities between these two players. Like both Stewie and Napheesa are, players that could play at any range. They don't need a lot of dribbles to set up their moves. They're super efficient. You can run your offense through them. They're highly cerebral, and they both play hard on the defensive end. They are really great defenders. Edge Napheesa here because she is the defensive player of the year this season. You could also argue that perhaps Napheesa's like contributions to her team are more valuable simply because like the Lynx have a roster of players whose journeys have been less decorated in the league, while the Liberty's roster is made of a ton of all-stars and champions and highly decorated and recognized WNBA stars. But as someone who covers the Liberty, let me tell you, just like you might say, hey, the Lynx don't get here without Napheesa, like if you took her off the team, they don't get. Stewie, her shine may not have been as like roaring loud as some others this season, but she is the steady drumbeat for the Liberty. They don't get here without her either. Stats wise, I took a look. It's actually really interesting. They almost have identical regular season stats, except for Fee has a slight edge on the glass and on field goal percentage. It's like they have almost identical stats. So that's crazy. And of course, the really cool storyline of Unrivaled. They're co-founders of Unrivaled, guys. And so like what a beautiful storyline for their league that starts up in January as their founders go head to head for all the marbles. So it's really tough to make this decision, but I'm gonna go Stewie just because of what she did on the global world stage with the Olympics. and all of that. I'm going Stewie.
What do you think, Logan?
Ross took all my points and flipped them to show me the other side. So now I was gonna go with Fee. Now my head is just spinning. I think I'm gonna take the question literally and go with best player in the league right now and keep Fee.
Why?
It's
Go.
just, I think, okay, I'm going back to the team contribution, and I know you said that the same thing happened with Stewie, but the Lynx would be nowhere close to where they are now. I think the Liberty would be able to, I don't think they'd be in the finals, but they would have been able to have still made a decent run. But I think the Lynx would still be at the bottom without Fee. And especially like the leadership that she's had with every single player. I mean, we had Sylvia on the show a few weeks ago, and she said that she calls her like every few days and she just talks over the game and the game plan and how she's doing with the team, and then just checking in with her on life. And yeah, I think that she's the best player in the team right now, not to mention in the league right now, not to mention she had a baby pretty recently, and to come back as she is and going through this motion. And I don't even think we've seen the peak of her yet, which is kind of crazy to think about, but I'm going to stick with B.
Valid points. Oh, it's tough. Oh.
It's a good debate. It's a good one. Well, before we take a break, because we don't have a lot of time left, but we want to do a little fun game as we get excited for the finals. And we're going to do a guess the headline. So rapid fire, and I'm going to go with you, Logan, first. What do you think is going to be the biggest story coming out of the WNBA finals?
Oh my gosh, there's so many like already to begin with. I mean, the Lynx going for the fifth, the Liberty going for their first. You have Stewie, you have Fee, but I think Courtney Williams, this is going to be her time to shine. She's going to be much more of like a, I don't want to say household name, but you have the people who aren't really tuned into WNBA watching her on your phone. She's going to be highlight reel. She has the personality, the play. I absolutely love what she's doing, and I cannot wait for everybody else to see her.
What about you, Roz? What's your headline?
I think the Lynx doing the electric slide at the end of all of their wins is not a national story enough outside of basketball world. But like if they really transcend, that's an awesome story and so fun and so cool. I could see the headline being like, the Lynx are electric sliding to the top.
Fun. I love it.
Can y'all do the electric slide? I want to know. Do you know which way to turn?
Yeah, you always go this way to your left.
I'm half black
I'm
and
facing
half
this
white.
way. You go to your left.
Girl, Logan, me too.
This is where my white comes out.
Oh no.
I don't know the electric slide.
Mine always comes out on the direction of the turn. Like I know the dance and I know the rhythm and I got the dips and I even can do the fancy dips and stuff. But it's always like if there isn't someone who's clearly leading and showing us which way to go, I'm always like, no, I think we go this way.
I'm like fairly certain. I always go left. We're gonna have to look this up. Okay, very, very, very quick before the break. I want from each one of you, who is taking it all? Who's winning the championship? Logan first. Quick, don't think about it.
And how many games? And how many games?
Liberty in 5 or 4.
Ooh. Okay, Roz?
I got 5 games and
We have the props and all.
I got the Liberty in 5, baby. It's a heavyweight matchup going all the way. But
I love it.
what about you, Megan?
Full transparency, DraftKings, I actually have money on a Lynx money line. So I have them winning it all. I don't know how many games, but I like the idea of 5. Give us all the entertainment and drama.
The drama.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to discuss the Aces and the Sun. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Good Follow. Let's get right into it with the Las Vegas Aces. Roz, back at the end of August, we had you on the show and we asked you if we were watching the end of the Aces domination, and you had this to say. Let's take a look.
Do you think we're watching the end of their complete domination?
Not the end. That's crazy. I ain't worried about the Aces. I think the Aces are the Aces are the Aces. And I think championship experience goes a long way. I think chemistry goes a long way. And we all know talent goes a long way. That's still a handful to have to handle for any team. But one thing about the Aces, they love an us against the world storyline. Like, they love it. They feed off of it. They're probably looking for something to further bond them. Never count the Aces out.
So the Aces won just one semifinal game. Where do you stand now, Roz, regarding the Aces' domination of the W?
Well, I stand by it. I know y'all trying to throw shade about it. I stand by it. The Aces they ain't over, y'all. It's hard to win 3 back-to-back championships. Like, 3 in a row is crazy. This is not going to be some rebuild. It's going to be a re-up. Like, they just went to the semis. That's something. They'll be competing for 3 and 4 years next season. I think the core 4 group of Asia, of Jackie, of Chelsea, of Kelsey, like, that group is still those girls. They still that girl. Like, they're super talented. They need some rest. It's hard to go these long WNBA seasons, where the standard is always the championship. All 4 of them also played in the Olympics. It was a huge hit that Chelsea wasn't fully healthy. Like, players need a chance for their bodies to rest and get healthy. There's also off-court drama, for the team, for players, for coaches. I think personally, there's a chance to just reset, to rest, to heal, to remotivate. And honestly, I think it was really telling when Becky said that, the team won't look the same. They have to build around that core and strengthen around them. It shouldn't be that they always have to overcome for holes in the roster or depth. They need to fortify it because the rest of the league has gotten better. And they need to be better on defense. They need to be better in rebounding and just more consistent, balanced scoring. So this is a team that needs to improve, but I expect them to compete for a championship next season. The Aces, they ain't going nowhere. They're still the Aces.
Yes. And you brought it up. I actually want to come back to this point, what Coach Becky Hammond said after their loss. Let's take a look at this video.
This is a 2-time defending championship team. This is a team that obviously knows what it needs to do. Why is it not happening on this in a way it didn't in either 22 or 23 playoffs?
And this is why three-peating is hard. Let's be real. Like, the whole league has been pissed off for the last 8 months, and my players are in commercials and this and that and being freaking celebrities, and you get distracted. That's why it's hard, because human nature is distracting.
Okay, so I want to know, do you guys think this was the right thing to say after going down 0-2 in the playoffs? Like, she was taking a shot at the players. As your coach, is this what you want to hear from them after a game?
No. If anything, like, that's something I'd want to hear after the series and kind of have it all like left behind, can't really make any changes then. But also I feel like everybody has kind of been pushing, and we've had this little fight for these players to be more in the limelight and to have their moment and to be kind of equal with endorsements and visibility as, let's say, NBA players. So like, finally it's at the peak, we're getting endorsements, you're seeing these players everywhere, but then, we don't like that. Yeah. And I think the players, like, you could see behind the scenes, I feel like they've done a really good job at being able to balance the two. So not really sure where that came from. Maybe it was a bit of like when you are angry about something and it just has to come to the front. But yeah, Roz, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of like a strategy playbook out of a, old coach's bag of tricks. And don't forget,
A Coach Pop move.
Absolutely, Megan. Like, Becky has that Coach Pop influence on her. But in general, I think coaches often use the media and the podium as a way to message to their own team as well as the rest of the league, and also to challenge within there, perhaps create some edge in the locker room. And so I think that was a strategic comment by Becky, and, just trying to rally her team in whatever way she could.
Well, let's move on to the Sun. They also had a great season that shouldn't be overlooked. And what do you think stood out the most during their playoff run?
For me, I think, first of all, let's first give the Sun organization some flowers. They are a semifinal team. and they've often gotten there, I think something like 4 times in the last 6 seasons. They haven't been able to get over the hump, but there's definitely been WNBA franchises that are just stuck in the mud, like, can't even get into playoffs right now. So I think, the Sun continue to find ways to get it done. And year after year, they continue to have this identity around physical defense. But what stood out to me, once again, for the Sun are these huge lapses where they cannot find anything offensively. And, that's got to be so frustrating. So I think, it might be, some shakeup on the way, but I think overall for the Sun, like what stands out to me is like, hey, organizational success, individual improvement. I'd love to shout out the play of Dejanay Carrington, most improved player. I thought she was fantastic and her future's really bright.
Well, let's talk about the shakeup. So 3 of the Sun starters, Brianna Jones, Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, they're all free agents who make more than $200,000. And then Dejanay Carrington is a restricted free agent, so at the end of her rookie contract. And that means that it's going to be really hard to re-sign them all. We're going to ask a little bit of a spicy question. Do you think the Sun missed their window for a title, or do you think this is just the beginning and they'll be able to make another run next season?
Oh, Megan. I get a little bit romantic and poetic and just dramatic when it comes to windows in sports because, there's windows in life. There's windows, and you've got to, in this life, you've got to seize it. And sometimes they pass us by and that sticks with you. I don't know. I do think maybe we've seen a window close for the Sun. And I believe they might look very different next season. One, financially keeping all of those players together would be tough. And there's also a natural erosion over time within any franchise that happens. Like players might just be looking for different vibes, different types of situations. And I also think the emergence of Dejanay Carrington is an interesting thing. Like, she is on her way. If she continues to keep this up, she could be looking for a bigger role, within the Sun or elsewhere if the Sun don't want to, reinvest and hold her down and lock her down there. But oftentimes when you make, room for younger players to blossom, it means you let go of some of the older ones. You got to make room for that. And so with, DeWanna Bonner and AT being unrestricted free agents, they also have a lot of agency in here with like what they want to do, So I do think we'll see some changes and room making and team shifting. We'll see.
Well, I actually just had another question for you. Because I'm really big on the Dejanay bandwagon. I think she has been incredible this season. And personally, in my opinion, hasn't gotten enough media attention as she has deserved. And so I really like the conversation of where does she go from here? And I would love to know, in your opinion, I know there's a lot of factors in play, salary cap, all of that, but do you think she stays with the Sun or do you think she goes somewhere else and takes on a bigger contract and role?
Well, she's a restricted free agent, right? So she has a little less, freedom in the sense that like, hey, if she's really that good, the Sun will try to lock her down, even if there's another offer and opportunity elsewhere. But, I think the sky is the limit. I actually know Dejanay from back when she started at Stanford women's basketball, and that was my little sis. Now she didn't finish there, but I mean, she's improved so much. And I think her offensive game has so much room for growth. Her defensive game, she has the potential to be one of the best defenders in the league, period. I mean, she already is one of the top. Offensively, I'd love to see her get in with a really great trainer. Somebody I think of would be like Phil Handy, who's working with Juju Watkins out in LA. And actually I might, help facilitate that. But I think like her offensive game with the right work could really take a big jump. Am I willing to say that will she ever be, Sabrina, like, I don't even know, like, Nafisa Collier, Sabrina Ionescu, I'm trying to think of somebody, Kayla McBride, I don't know. But I think, she's got a lot of room for growth, and I think she has the chance to define that. So she's certainly, in my opinion, a player you lock down. So I would be shocked if she's either a player you lock down or a player you use when they're peaking out as a really big tool, right? Like as a tool to maneuver your roster. So it depends on which direction like the franchise of the Connecticut Sun want to go as a whole.
Well, up next, Roz, Logan, and I play a new game that combines the WNBA and fashion. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Good Follow. If you've watched any of our past episodes, you know I love fashion. And throughout the playoffs, the tunnel fits in the WNBA have been unreal. So today we're going to play a game called Fit Check. And here's how it works. So we will see a picture of a player's outfit from the playoffs, and Logan, Roz, and myself will need to guess which WNBA star this is. Are you two ready?
Ready, let's go.
Okay, let's see the first one. Oh, okay.
I already have some ideas simply because it's a Puma fit. So this is a Puma athlete. And I think that leans me strong in one direction. I already have a guess because of that.
I want to hear it. I love the context clues.
Right. So it being a Puma athlete and fair skin, I'm already leaning towards Brianna Stewart.
I was thinking that too.
But in build, that isn't giving Stewie.
I feel like the build is giving Courtney Williams, but I'm not too sure if she's a Puma athlete.
Does this person look fair skinned? I couldn't tell.
It's giving a bit of light skin. I think the hands.
Oh, okay. So,
Okay, so what's our final answer?
Well, what other Puma? Puma athlete as well. I mean, Skylar Diggins Smith, but I pray of all.
I don't think she's tall enough for Skylar.
And I pray of all the fits she wore this season that this is not the one the game showed. Because my sis was the best dressed player in the WNBA, in my opinion. And this does not show that. Well, if this is a nice fit, but it wouldn't be one of Skylar's best.
What about like Natisha Hardiman?
Oh.
I'm getting like that vibe. I don't know.
Listen, all guesses are fair.
All right. Are you guys ready to see who it is? Who are we final answering?
That's not Stewie.
Stumped on the first one. That just tells me there have been so many good outfits this season that we can't even just pick one.
I'm about to be mad when y'all reveal it. I'm about to be mad.
I know. I don't think we have a final answer, so let's just see who it is. Oh my God.
I blame this on the judges, on the creators of the game. I said it better not be Skylar Diggins Smith. It's a fly outfit, but she delivered all season. Y'all could have done anything. But actually, I said Skylar Diggins Smith. I said it. We get a point. The only reason I go with it is because I didn't think that was the best reflection of her fashion season.
Well, they stumped us for sure. So producers won us half. Let's see the next one.
Who it is right now. I remember the fit.
Alicia?
No.
What? That's definitely Vegas's tunnel.
I was going to say, is that Kelsey?
You said it's not Kelsey. It's not Alicia. Y'all, look how long this person is.
Right.
Oh, no, I was going to say Kayla George. That's not giving Kayla.
First of all, it's leather breasticuffs bra, like over the denim. You know, it's a big fashion splash. And I feel like this player has been fashion forward all season. It's Asia.
No way.
Asia?
That's Asia, y'all.
Why have I never seen these fits before?
I don't think I saw this one either.
She's so bold. I feel like she has a very bold, she and her stylist, you know, they just have very bold vision. Shout out to Maddie.
Maddie is iconic. If we didn't have Roz, Logan and I would be so screwed right now. Okay. Let's see the next fit.
I know who this is.
It's giving Chelsea Gray.
It is. It is.
Oh, wait, no. Wrong. It's not. It's not Chelsea.
The build is a bit like slimmer.
But I do know who it is, and she also has been killing all season. But why it's not Chelsea Gray? I feel like Chelsea was doing the suits with like no shirt, like multiple times this season, right? Like a lot of the Vegas players were like, forget an undershirt, forget a bra, I'm just throwing a coat on. And let me tell you, ladies, if I could, I would. It's just not like that.
Same.
If I was a 20-something pro athlete, trust me, I'd be out here doing all of the things.
If I had that body, I would also.
So I
don't have an answer on this one, actually.
Could it be Jewel Lloyd?
It's not Jewel Lloyd, but that's a good guess. I'll tell you, it's a super veteran player, and she's she's top 3 in the history books, all-time points and all-time rebounds in the WNBA. So this is
I have the face and I don't have the name.
She's from Queens. I actually grew up playing against her my whole life. Our childhood. We played against each other in high school. She went to Christ the King. I went to Malloy. She went to UConn. I went to Stanford. Needless to say,
UConn.
I've been taking a lot of L's to her my entire life. It's Tina Charles.
That's
She was giving us all the clues. Oh my gosh. Okay. Like I said, without Roz, Logan and I
This
would
made me
still be
so
on
down
number one.
bad.
Chelsea was a good guess.
Let's see the next player.
I know who it is.
This is Stewie.
I think it's Stewie too.
It looks like New York Steno.
That's that Snipes floor as a clue. So that is
I was gonna say, I was trying to read the carpet.
Snipes. Yeah. I think we all three of us are agreeing it's Stewie here.
We'll go with Stewie. Okay.
Yay!
We did it. We got one right with confidence without relying on Ross.
What I will say about Stewie's fashion this season, I feel like she was just in a lane all her own, like very different than anything else any other player was doing. And like just I truly appreciated the creativity or diversity of thought on her outfits.
All right, let's see the next outfit.
Sydney Colson.
I do remember this one.
I agree.
Recently?
For a second, I was thrown off because Jackie Young being all that rocker leather, but she's more rocker. This is more fitted. And for that reason, I will lean with Sydney too.
Well, we'll go with Sid. This
Okay.
one, is this a recent one?
I don't know.
I think so.
I think I remember seeing this one. I do love how I'm a leather girly, so I do love how much the Aces embrace the leather fits.
They be embracing texture. There's denim, there's brown leather, there's like shoulder pads, there's rocker style. Like they're just a really interesting, unique group over there. And they've got some great stylists working. Like obviously we gave love to Maddie. And also Sydney's does a great job too, I think, with Kelsey.
Yeah. Sydney's had some really iconic outfits as well for Kelsey. Okay, let's see our next one. I'm not sure how many more we have left, but let's go to the next fit.
I know who it is.
The stature is giving Caitlin Clark.
You know what?
But I feel like I've never seen this fit from her. Like heels, I feel like there was kitten heels one time, but those are like stilettos.
Yeah, I'm confused. I too feel this could be a Caitlin Clark, but it's not because of the heels, and I haven't seen her in this. Then I thought, oh, is that Sabrina? I don't remember this from Sabrina. Is it the rookie with Mad Aura?
Mad Aura.
Out of UConn. Why am I blanking right now?
Oh,
Just
Kate?
No, that's from Iowa. From
Nika?
Nika Mule. Is this Nika?
I could see it.
I don't know.
I was thinking like it has to be somebody who's fashion forward enough to do the bag on the bag, especially because that's like a huge trend right now.
The two bags, yes. But I mean, again, Nika got aura like this. I could see her doing it. Who else could this be? Is this somebody? The heels like you signal to me, not Caitlin.
Watch it be Caitlin.
It's a
Right?
Do we have any other guesses? Brunette player?
I know the ponytail.
I thought her hair is down.
Maybe it is kind of like a slick back hair down. I can't really tell the way they put the.
It's giving down. I think it's Nika Mule. I can't think of a better choice than that.
It's our final answer.
Logan?
I'm still like stumped on Caitlin because the whole like stature build, the way her neck goes up, like that's Caitlin.
But you're going
again,
you're going
with
Caitlin.
Oh, thank goodness. I was like, there's no way.
Should have gone with the gut.
So the team gets credit for that, or just Logan?
The team
can get credit. We take this as a team.
Yes, this is a team game. All right, I think we might have time for one more. Let's see what we have. It's giving.
Ooh, this could be a few players. I have
the hair.
Hair reminds me of Gabby Williams' hair, remember?
Yes, that's exactly who I'm thinking of.
Gabby Williams, but also the body and the swag is also giving Mo Billings.
Ooh.
Right?
I feel like Mo's hair is normally darker.
It's even giving slight Dejanay, but shoot me if I yell at me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
I was actually getting Dijonay vibes a little bit, but I feel like sometimes Dijonay's outfits are a little bit more elevated as far as like high fashion, and this is giving cozy. But
Right? I would like to stick with Gabby Williams here from Seattle, but
I
I
like
do think
that.
those other two choices could fit.
all right, Logan, you want to go with Gabby?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's see it. Ah, the gut has proven us right this whole time, except for
Yo,
Kayla.
we're closing out well.
Yeah, also it shows you that the fits have really been very impactful. Like we've seen them come in, and also the storytellers of fits, like different sites, have done a good job of like making sure the larger culture like knows how these women have walked in and smashed their pregame tunnel walk.
That's been one of my favorite parts. Well, that's it for our game of fit check. And coming up, I reveal my DraftKings picks of the week, and Raj shares her latest good follow. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Follow. Before we get into my weekly picks, our partners at DraftKings have an offer that's perfect for any game day. Right now, new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $250 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code GOODFOLLOW. That's $250 in bonus bets to spend on parlays, live betting, or picking straight up winners after betting just $5. And listen, if sports betting is not yet available in your state, you can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Again, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code GOODFOLLOW for $250 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Okay, now it's time for this week's DraftKings Sportsbook's picks. We only have 3 weeks left in the NWSL regular season, so every match counts more than ever as we push towards the playoffs. This Sunday, number 2 Washington Spirit will face off against Racing Louisville in a very important match for Louisville, who sit at number 9 and hope to jump into the top 8 teams. Spirit have already clinched a playoff spot, but this match has its own implications for them as home field advantage for the quarterfinals could be on the line. With the absence of Trinity Rodman, Washington Spirit lost 0-2 to the still undefeated Orlando Pride. And Captain Andy Sullivan left the field on a stretcher due to injury and has been ruled out for the remainder of the season with a torn ACL. This is a significant setback for a team already dealing with injuries to key players. I'm still confident Washington can get the 3 points at home this weekend, though, and I'm counting on forward Ashley Hatch to take control of the game offensively. Logan, I would love to know, what are your thoughts on this one? Do you agree with me, or do you think that Louisville can get the 3 points on the road?
I agree. I think it'll be a fight. Like, it'll either be a 1-0 win for Washington. Maybe they'll draw this one, but I just cannot get past the fact that Washington was so incredibly dominant. They were doing so well, leading the league in wins. They weren't first because Orlando has been killing it, but they were right up behind them on their tails. And then Trinity Rodman, Ole Sarr, Chloe Ricketts was just at the last game, Lacey Santos, Croy Bethune. They lost like their whole core that they were going with. So I mean, they've had that experience playing against a good team like KC. I mean, now you are missing Andy Sullivan, but I think they've had time to kind of work around and figure out what they're going to do to close out the season. With that said, Racing Louisville, I mean, they're here, there, and everywhere. I'm pretty sure they beat NC Courage, but then lost to Utah. So they're really going to have to make a push. And in a way, I feel like they can, because that 8th spot or the playoff spot is super, super close for them. So do I think Racing can pull it off? Yes. But at the end of the day, I think Washington will.
Well, and so it's such a bummer for Washington because I think they still have an opportunity to go pretty far in the playoffs. But like you said, missing Croy Bethune, Trinity Rodman as of now, Sarr, Andy Sullivan, do you think like pretty much their starting 11 have been out? Do you think that if it continues that way that they can go deep in the playoffs?
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, like even after the Olympic break, we saw Lacey Santos come in and she was doing really well, but without Croy, we even saw the drop on defense. So now we have a drop on defense, a significant drop on offense, and it's just not even close to the same team that we saw beforehand. And it's so sad.
Well, on the flip side, as we're talking about that 8 spot, Bay FC currently hold on to that 8 spot, and they're tied with Racing Louisville, but games won kind of separate them, which Bay FC have only drawn, I think, once. I'm not even going to go into a whole conversation I wanted to have about Bay FC like never drawing a game. But on the flip side, they currently sit at 8, and they have a really tough matchup against KC Current at home this weekend. What are your keys for them to hold on to the 8th spot and beat a really tough KC team?
They're gonna have to, this sounds so basic, but not allow a lot of goals. I mean, their goal differential is just abysmal for the position that they're in, both on the table and just as a team. But they're gonna have to shut down Toma Chwenga. I mean, there's no other answer to trying to hold back KC than by stopping her. She is absolutely dominating and going for a record right now. So you know that she wants it even more. And I mean, I don't know what happened to their defense last game, but they just let Gotham put 5 up on them. Gotham has barely scored like 2 goals for the whole season against all the other teams. 5 is insane. So they cannot let that happen with KC.
And I think what Bay has in their favor, I mean, you have Abby Dahlkemper and Caprice Didasco on the back line, who are 2 very talented defenders. Yeah, I don't know what happened in that Gotham game, but if we're really if we're really depending on defense, Bay have that. And I hope being at home will help as well, and having that atmosphere. I mean, Bay FC home games at Paybell Park are unreal. They're way more fun than San Jose Earthquakes games. But I think if they can get their defensive line in order and reorganize and figure it out and be at home, they may be able to do it. But like you said, Temwa's coming for Sam Kerr's record, which is crazy and scary, not scary, but fun that like somebody can put up that many goals in one season. But it's going to be a really tough matchup for them. But I want to talk about the Orlando Pride. Shout out to them. With only 3 games left in the regular season, they have already clinched a trophy and are celebrating. Let's watch this.
Orlando Pride.
Tonight, for the first time in club history, the shield belongs to the Orlando Pride.
Marta's happiness is it's everything for me. So after an incredible season, Orlando Pride have clinched the NWSL Shield, which for those that aren't familiar, it is awarded to the team with the best regular season record. They are still undefeated in over 365 days. The Pride have not lost a game, which in the sport of soccer, I cannot stress this enough, is so incredibly impressive. I posted this on the internet the other day, to not lose a game, again, in the sport of soccer, but especially in the league like NWSL, which is so talented and so chaotic. Like you said, Louisville can go on to lose to Utah, which is, I mean, one of the struggling teams this season. Anything can happen at any moment in this league. So to accomplish this is a really big feat. And given their club history, Logan, what do you think about this accomplishment?
I absolutely love it. I mean, this is a team that have had players like Ashlyn Harris, Ali Krieger, Alex Morgan, Sydney Leroux, Marta. They've had all the Australians, Steph Catley, Caitlin Ford, Emily Van Egmond, Alana Kennedy. Like, oh my gosh, the list can go on. And year after year, it's like 9th place. They finish in 10th. Like, they're just not doing well. But the fans have rode with them the entire way. And the one person that has stuck with them is Marta. And so to just see this all happen for Marta and the longtime fans is so incredible. And I was actually just looking back last year, they tied for that last playoff spot. I think it was still 8. And the team that they tied with was Gotham, who went on to win. So, I mean, that's got to hurt a little bit more. But to just have an incredible season and go to their stadium and just the fans see them only winning, especially after all they've gone through with the type of rosters that you think like, oh, we can do this undefeated. Oh, it didn't happen. I think it's so amazing. And I cannot wait to see them continue to ride it out and just Marta experience all the happiness and blessings in the world.
I think they can do it. I think it's going to be tough to continue on undefeated at this point. I mean, listen, if they lose any of their next 3 regular season games, it's not going to be the end of the world for them. We already know they're in the playoffs. But I think they have it's theirs to lose. I think they can absolutely win the championship, and I think they will do it. But yeah, it's their trophy to lose, and they've been so incredible. Like, we had Darian on a couple weeks ago, and she explained that they never lose their composure, and they just have so much talent, and they always know how to regroup. And this would be the perfect ending for Marta's career. So I hope that that's what we see. But let's talk about trophies. The Shield got a huge makeover this year thanks to a collaboration between the NWSL and Tiffany & Co. Let's take a look at this trophy, and where do you think the Shield now ranks among major sports trophies? I mean, that's beautiful. And the selfies that the players were taking were super iconic. They were taking, like how NBA players do it in the Larry O'Brien. I think this might be like a top 5 trophy for me.
It's a shield too, which is so cool. Like, I don't know from the front if you could actually tell, but the back has like the shielding to make it a shield.
It's Captain America.
I feel like any trophy is really exciting to have, like you're going to post about it. You're going to be hyped around it. I think one of the key things is it big? And the fact that you could hoist it over your head and the whole team is super excited around you. It just makes for a very Instagrammable moment too. So that's key too. I mean, maybe like what are trophies that have gotten the most flack? I remember some years ago, there was a Pac-12 tournament trophy that looked like a crooked wand that people made fun of. And then if you remember, notoriously, back to women's basketball, Kelsey got the MVP trophy for the All-Star game, and it was so small. So like, I think, in trophies, size matters, and the Shield definitely achieved that.
I want to see if they're going to revamp. I don't think they've said anything yet. If they're going to revamp the championship trophy, maybe continue with this Tiffany collaboration. Tiffany's been doing their thing in the world of trophies, and we can only just go up from here. But yes, we have long past the days of tiny little Dollar Tree trophies for our women athletes. We have moved on, and we're better than this in 2024.
I'm a big fan of all Tiffany bling, period.
Well, the foundation of this show, as you all know, is that communities get built one good follow at a time. And each week, one of us will highlight a person, page, or brand that is their good follow of the week. So, Roz, this week is yours. Who is your good follow?
Well, I have fashion and fits and all of that coming to the front of my mind. So, especially with thinking about the WNBA finals and this entire WNBA season, players have been dominating on and off the court, especially with their pregame tunnel walk-in fit. And so I actually have a good follow for @LeagueFits. I think the players crushed their fits, and so did their stylists, but you've also got to have great storytellers, who put the content out, who build out a platform where we can consume that often and really dive in and, kind of rate the players. I also think they did a good job of rating the players themselves. They named Skylar Diggins-Smith their MVP for the WNBA season. And I think they nailed that. Sky is definitely my fashion MVP for the WNBA. Her style is sleek, it's bold, it's badass, like every single time. Also, she's always carrying that cup of coffee. And I also want to shout out that they're part of the Slam family, which has long been, advocates and champions of the women's game before it was like as popular as it is right now, with W Slam as well. So, they come from a great family tree. So shout out and a good follow to @LeagueFits.
I love LeagueFits. It's one of my favorite accounts. The voice is strong. It's so creative. Like, I just get inspiration artistically, creatively. And I also want to shout out Ian Pierno, who's one of the voices behind LeagueFits, just does an incredible job. And they highlight what I love, all the players. And so we get to see a lot of the different styles and personalities, and sometimes they dabble in other sports as well. But I like your good follow, Roz. It's also one of my favorites. And we want to hear from you, our fans. Who is your good follow?
Send your nominations to @GoodFollow Show and tell us why your good follow should be featured on our show.
Good Follow is brought to you by DraftKings. We'll see you all next week.